You're watching Let's Talk Hair.
Hello, and how are you? Welcome to Let's Talk Hair. I am so glad to be back and so glad you came back to be with us. Comedian Willie Macc of HGTV's The Macc Boys and our very own executive producer, Olu Gittens.
Hey.
What's up, everybody?
What's up, everybody?
Everybody. So,
y'all looking good.
You guys are looking great.
You too. You guys too. I missed you guys.
I know.
As is the Let's Talk Hair family.
Yes, our Let's Talk Hair fam, and we want to give a shout out to our co-host Robin McSweeney, who cannot be with us at the moment, but she is very much here in spirit. So,
yeah.
But yes, you guys, there's so much to talk about.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
We are gathered here today to talk about the infamous slap. The slap heard around the world. And as there's a cultural critic named Feek the Signifier who said it perfectly. He said, "This is the most complex, stupid thing that has ever happened."
When you said it was around the world, I'm like, is it around the world or is it just?
They're talking about it in every country.
Oh, okay.
Yes, there's newspapers all over the world in every country talking about this situation.
And not only that, I've been like tagging people from different countries on the slap. So I'm making sure the world knows about it. I'm doing my part.
Willie, you said you will know what's going on over here, whether you're involved or not. Get involved.
Get involved.
Exactly.
Yes. Well, since we're talking about it, we might as well show you the infamous slap from Will Smith to Chris Rock's cheek. Here goes. And then we'll come back and discuss it.
Denzel, Macbeth, loved it. I love the part where it said, King Lear don't got nothing on me. I gotta see it, it's really good. You know who's got the hardest job tonight? Javier Bardem and his wife are both nominated. Now, if she loses, he can't win. Praying that Will Smith wins, but please, Lord. Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right? That was a nice one. Okay. I'm out here. Richard. Wow. Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me. Out your fucking mouth. Wow, dude. Yeah. It was a G.I. Jane joke. Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth. I'm going to, okay? Okay. That was a greatest night in the history of television. Okay. So we're here to give a documentary out, to give an Oscar out for best documentary. Now, the beauty of documentaries, because they make you, when you watch one, you feel smart. Like you watch them, like you read a book or something. But all you really did was get high and watch Netflix.
Now, I think the whole world has missed the most important thing of all in that clip.
And what is that?
Lupita was stunning.
Yes, she was. She was. She was looking
Yes, she
She was looking like an African queen out here.
Yes, she was.
That dress, and she was like,
yes, she
I had a
was.
crush on her.
Oh my God, Willie! I'm not even going to, Willie. Let's get into it
Let's get
because
into it, guys.
I
Let's
know
get
we
into
talked
it.
off screen, Olu, just a couple of days ago, and you were saying the myth of him mentioning Macbeth at
Yes,
first.
there is an ancient myth that goes back many, many years about the play Macbeth. You are not supposed to mention that play out loud in a theater. You're not supposed to say the word Macbeth. Like you said, that's the white people's Candyman, because if you say it, something horrible will happen to you. And there's been all these the long history of all these horrible mishaps and riots and terrible things that happened during productions.
I had never heard of this, Olu.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, as a thespian, now you know. So you don't want to be caught out there ever, because I know you guys are, in addition to being comedians, you're also very excellent actors as well. So
thank you.
now you will not get caught up again. So
I would love to have seen that angle of him I want to see that angle from like behind Chris Rock from the moment, because we saw Jada roll her eyes like, go again. And then, but we always see from when Will smile and laughing and then going straight into the whole slapping. The whole slap. It's like, I want to see what that transition was. I want to see what Jada's face and what he did. Did he whisper something to her, or how did that go?
I think we saw exactly like everything that was there, because Will found it funny, and then she was laughing. She was not laughing. She was rolling her eyes.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? Honestly, I feel like, because this man had just talked about somebody else's wife saying if she loses, you can't win. And that couple took it gracefully.
They did.
Jada, they took it to Will was trying to keep his composure, but I feel like, seeing the eye roll on her face, like, it was just now, of course, to Jada's defense, sometimes you are taken off guard, you know what I'm saying? And so you can't help a reaction when somebody said G.I. Jane 2. But I feel like, honestly, y'all, Will is slapping Chris because he really wanted to slap all of us when we was joking on him about that entanglement. We were tired of people calling him a B, calling him out of his name. He tired of not standing up. She already said it was challenged, in the bedroom to be turned on. That was another blow. You know what I mean? And both of them over the years have said they wanted to commit suicide at some point. Like, y'all, like, I could really commend y'all for staying together. Then they was out partying at the Vanity Fair party, like one big happy family. You know what I'm saying? But that was the most unwarranted slap, like ever. Like that, you couldn't even build up to that kind of anger, like from that remark. You know what I mean?
Right. And just even the way, I guess what upsets me really about this whole thing, and I know I've heard comedians talk about it now, and everybody's like, so are people, if you say something offensive, are people have the right to go up there and slap comedians? Because I have a joke about, I say, I didn't know what an albino was growing up because I had a black mom, and she always told me that she would slap the black off me. And then when I was in third grade, when I saw my first black albino, I was like, oh, that's a bad kid right there. That's what happened in my mind. So I get off a stage one day and somebody comes up to me. She's like, that joke is offensive to people who have that are albinos. And I was like, what? She was like, I'm like, she wasn't even albino. She was offended for somebody else. And then it turned into this whole discussion. And I was like, and I like figured a way out of the conversation and disappeared. But I feel like it should have had that conversation. I'm not saying he should not have slapped him, but not on TV. Like it's like that joke Chris Rock has about, he's like, the difference between black people and N-words. And he was like, they always mess it up. He was like, what, a movie theater can't stay open for XYZ because someone's shooting in it or like whatever.
What I'm focused on too is shout out to Chris Rock, who was able to control his body, because when y'all see the slap, like if you go back and look at the slap, his stance immediately went to this, and he immediately cleaned himself up. Like you could see his arm was up, like because you know your natural reaction is to do like that, and he just cleaned that up. But I'm like I don't know. You know, this is why I be thinking things are staged because it's just like you was just laughing up a storm. Like that was a hearty laugh. You and Lupita was sitting there laughing. Everybody was sitting there laughing. Then, you know, when Jada rolls her eye, then you go up there as if you had an IFB in your ear. Was like, all right, it's time. You know what I'm saying? Like, because you know, even the crowd was surprised. You know what I'm saying? The crowd was like, you know what I mean? So
let me. We can all agree at this point that it was not staged, right? We're all on the same page about that.
Chris Rock's reaction said it wasn't staged. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because him being discombobulated, being like, "I'm here to give a documentary," like having to gather his words. You know, lets me know it's not staged, but you know. I don't know what kind of schizophrenic sense of humor you got that 1 minute, you know what I mean? 1 minute you sitting here with a hearty laugh, and the next minute the laugh is like, get up, go now, slap Chris. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So let me ask this as women, like, because there's this whole other part of it where people like he was defending his woman, and not just his woman, because there's also those hashtags of like defend Black women and just always. Now, would you, if we were together in this other dimension, if we were together, y'all, and it was like, would y'all expect, or how would y'all feel after the slap and I come and sit back down? Would y'all be like, thanks, babe? Or would y'all be like,
that's what? A great question. I'm going to read a tweet by there's someone on Twitter who goes by T Smith PhD. I don't care about the slap/punch. I care more about the message of a Black man sticking up to another Black man to defend a Black woman in public after being her being visibly humiliated. Can we get more of this, please?
No.
Black women have to put up with enough. Hashtag protect Black women. My feeling, I respectfully disagree with this person. I feel that protecting Black women is about the missing Black women, the missing Black girls, the untested rape kits, the unsolved murder, the disrespect, the street harassment. You don't need to hit or punch someone who said something that you found offensive in order to protect Black women who are not in a physical danger at the moment.
Yeah.
And we also get the short end of the stick in the culture because we're not given the benefit of the doubt. We're not given the protection.
With some nappy-headed women on that team. Shut up, I'm gonna say it. I don't give a damn, y'all like it or not. You know it's true. Them are some of the ugliest women I ever seen in my whole
life. We're not given the protection in a non-violent way. We don't want to reduce it. I feel like it does us a disservice to reduce all of this down to a situation of, oh, you stepped to my girl, so I'm gonna snuff you. We got too many brothers in morgues today because of that.
That's where I was going with that.
Okay, and then also I feel like, you know, would you have, you know, slapped Brad Pitt up there if he had, you know, some kind of snide remark toward Jada? Would you have gotten Brad Pitt? Would you have gotten some other white man? And then I also feel like, you know, I do want Black women to be protected. And the way to have shut it down is when you got your award, you immediately respond and say, listen here, brother, this is my wife. Now, my wife did not like that comment. And what I need you to do is I need you to apologize to her the next time. You could have said that to the entire crowd and they would have been like, oh, he stood up. Like, that's when we would have been like,
however,
I love this man. You know what I'm saying? Because
the only thing is he didn't know he was going to win. And the official word from the Academy Awards is that all the nominees obviously know they're nominated, but the winner does not know until that moment. The results are kept in the safeguard of PricewaterhouseCoopers firm, which is an accounting firm that is able to carefully guard confidential documents. So he didn't know that in 5 minutes or 10 minutes or by the end of the show that he would have an immediate platform.
Okay, but y'all are A-listers. Put a video out the next day and
Yeah.
put $1,000 on it on Instagram and have it go out to everybody and share it. And curse them out right then and there. You know what I'm saying? You went on stage and slapped this man who was joking and who also said, Jada, love you. See you in G.I. Jane 2. Now, as a comedian, I'm going to tell you that when you're up there and your mind is going and thinking of things off the cuff, I can see right then and there that this man had not pre-written that joke. He's reaching because he wrote the joke about those two white people when he said he cannot win. He joked that he knew Will was nominated, but he had to think of something for Jada too. But you could see it was like an afterthought.
Yeah.
Now the world talking about, joking about her alopecia. Jada has been forward with the alopecia, like she has been accepting it.
So I thought I'd just share it so y'all not asking any questions. But Mama's gonna put some rhinestones in there. And I'm just gonna make me a little crown. That's what Mama's gonna do.
And to me, as a Jada fan, she looks beautiful with her bald head. We've seen her with short hair all of our life, and her face is so gorgeous. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't have known if you had alopecia or not. I don't even, you know what I mean? I didn't even care. I'm just like, oh, look at Jada. She's always reaching into to push the envelope when it comes to her hair. You know what I'm saying?
So I'm going to share another clip and just get your thoughts on this. This is from the perspective of someone who suffered from it.
Will slapped Chris because he made a joke about his wife, Jada, who has alopecia, just like me and so many of y'all. And we all got our own opinions, but I cried all night. I was in the restroom crying. Because it ain't no joke. Do you hear me? It ain't something you supposed to make a joke about. We women, we wake up one day, we got a head full of hair. The next day we going bald. This ain't no joke. Every day ain't always easy for me. It's hard when I think about never being able to wear braids again, never being able to put my hair in a ponytail. That's hard. I'm a woman. So yeah, Will Smith, I would have knocked him out. And Jada, thank you for making me stronger. This is me and alopecia, baby.
If we all get into your feelings and start feeling like maybe Will defended Jada because of her alopecia, don't do that. What happened was Will was laughing because it was a joke, and Jada was upset, and Will saw she was upset, and he decided to defend her. Yeah, Jada played Will on the biggest night of his life. It was a joke. Chris Rock was doing his job, okay? And he was assaulted for doing his job. And it's about to cost him and the Academy. Will is going to pay for that. Chris was a professional. And, I mean, hey, it was a good joke. Demi Moore was fierce in G.I. Jane as a bald woman. And Jada looked fierce as a bald woman. And instead of her embracing that, she let her man get played on the biggest night of his life. Shame, shame, shame.
Guys, what do you think about that? We got an alopecia sufferer. We have another Black woman who does not appear to be an alopecia sufferer. But how do you feel about the views of these different women?
I'm so glad to see the video of that second woman out there. You know what I'm saying? Because alopecia is something that people suffer with. And I feel very sad when I see someone who is suffering something that is going through something as the first young lady on the video. But I don't think that's what the night was about. And I feel like Jada has embraced her alopecia. I've seen videos. I'm talking about, I was just in Jada Pinkett school before this came on because I wanted to see what she has been saying about her own, condition. And, there was a video where she's like, listen, I just wanted to get ahead of the game. I finally went bald. Then she noticed the line, and then she was like, oh, but don't worry about this. Mama gonna put some rhinestones, and Jada is very beautiful.
So she said it herself at that time. Do you think anything changed between the time she professed her confidence until the time of the show? Or was it just the fact that someone called attention to it?
I think it was because not just someone called attention to it, Chris Rock called attention to it. Because he's been talking about her over the past, years. A few years ago, and he was like, how you gonna protest something you wasn't invited to? So when the next joke came in, it was just like, I'm over it. But I definitely, I hate talking for women as a man because I have my own ideas, but I do try to put my foot in like the shoe and I try to come from a very understanding place. But it's hard for me to come from an understanding place for two reasons. One, yes, I am a guy. So it's like when they had this thing where like to experience pregnancy. And I'm like, I get it. It sucks. I'm sure it hurts like hell. I will never understand that pain. And so when I hear those type of things, like a lot of people have conditions. A lot of people, it just happened to have been her condition whatever. Because like as comedian, because this is what's sad about this as a comedian, is like, so now what can we not talk about? There's no list like, hey, here's a list. Welcome to stand up. Here's what you can say and what you can't say. You kind of feel stuff out, and that's what bombing on stage is. It's like, all right, this joke did not work, so I should stay away from it. This joke did work. His joke worked. The laughter was there. She was just fed up, and unfortunately, Will went with it in the wrong way, because there's a lot of guys who have stood their ground for their woman who are now in jail for a long time.
Exactly. Exactly.
Now, how do you feel? Do you feel that when she said that she was confident, do you think she meant it? Do you think it was a little bravado, just trying to build herself up? Do you really feel that, what do you think changed from the time she felt confident doing the Instagram post to the time of the show?
I feel, she was feeling laughed at, and people, you never know. This is what I was saying also too, as a spiritual person and a person who, is intuitive of, we don't know if alopecia is something she's suffering in addition to something else, because as a onlooker, that looked like the most unwarranted slap of all time. You was just laughing. I'm like, what type of schizophrenic you have that, 1 minute you're laughing with Lupita, the next minute, what I'm saying, your wife is rolling your eyes, and then the next minute we just see you on stage and you slap this guy who had just made another joke about someone else's wife. So, and they were able to take that just as gracefully. So y'all, are the ones that can't control yourself. But, to take it back to my first point, I hope, and this is my hope, that Jada isn't suffering with anything else that we don't know about. And that may have brought out those feelings, because people are, out here suffering in silence sometimes,
Yeah.
Okay, you guys, I want to share a tweet. This was by someone who goes by Jonathan Wright on Twitter, referencing his wife that has a medical condition that she's dealing with. Whether it's a joke or not, some things are off limits, and talking about someone's wife and the mother of their children is one of them. I don't care how famous you are or where you're from. So there are some people out in the Twitter sphere who agree with that statement. And, there could be some other condition, or maybe it is just the alopecia. We don't know. But sometimes people, build themselves up and say, yeah, this makes me feel really confident. But I mean, I feel okay with it. But the moment someone teases us, it breaks us down again. So that can happen.
And as a comedian, I can say that when you make a joke, we want to make jokes where everyone is laughing, including the person we may be talking about. You know what I'm saying? So that's always a challenge, is how do I spin this off so that the person I'm talking about is also laughing too? But I can see that Chris Rock was thinking on his feet. You don't deliver every single thing, as friendly as you would like, but you don't mean anything by it. And he didn't mean anything by it. You can see he was just thinking on his feet. He even said, Jada, I love you. But she had the negative energy, you know what I'm saying, that night. So, and that's also, I can't say that's what stemmed off Will. Will should have kept his composure no matter what kind of eye roll she was doing, because
okay, that leads us to another question. When it comes to just relationships, dynamics between men and women, I'm seeing some people online saying Jada was something of a puppeteer, controlling Will's reaction. Is that valid, or is Will 100% responsible?
I wouldn't use the word puppeteer, but he definitely reacted off of how she reacted. Like we keep saying, like he was laughing, he enjoyed it, looked over her. And the thing that gets me about it is, from like Dale was saying, like, how do you turn so quickly and decide to do this? Like, let me go up there. Like, even when I'm mad, I've been in multiple fights my entire life. I've been in a lot of fights, actually. But it took a while to get that riled up. Like, It never came from laughing. Like, that's a scary dude to go from.
Yeah.
I
said Will Smith must have still been in character, you know what I'm saying? And from King Richard, you know what I mean? Like, this man was retaliating from all the fights that King Richard had been over his daughters. And he just channeled that energy right on to Jada to be like,
so you guys think he was in protection mode for his family, or do you think it was protection mode for his own ego?
I think ego from the August Alsina event, okay, because that is when we got all these meetings. That slap was not for Chris Rock. That slap was for us, Olu. How everybody has been making fun, like, Will, grow some beef. Will, get some, you know what I'm saying, grow some, everybody been like, grow this, grow that, Will. Then she came out after the August Alsina event, and then a couple months later, it was just like, oh, we not satisfied in the bedroom. And then people like, Lord, I don't want no wife like Will got. And it's just been like, Will has been the butt of everyone's jokes, and I feel like he just wanted to defend himself against someone so that people would think he ain't no beat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so he was feeling emasculated, and he wanted to show dominance over someone else.
Yeah, well, I feel like. Go ahead, Willie.
It's definitely he was putting. I could see how even though Dale, you joked about how he was like he was still in King Richard mode, which is hilarious to me, but also. Some people do have a difficult time getting out of roles. Like when you see a Heath Ledger, when you see they was doing a thing. The person that played Jon Snow in what was it, Game of Thrones? He said he had to go to therapy after the show to get his mind back right. So and a lot of people of color already ain't doing therapy and talking about it, because if anybody deserved to have been slapped, it would have been August, because only because I understand they took a break or whatever their situation was, but the way that August kept on coming back on Twitter and just Instagram is like, oh, we were in love, me and your wife this. And I'm like, all right, now that might have made me roll up like, hey, listen, dude, whatever. Slap them all.
Well, I just want to add, Mr. Williams did chime in on how he feels, and his reaction was that he does not condone hitting anyone else unless it's in self-defense. I just wanted to put that out there because Mr. Richard Williams, the father of Venus and Serena, King Richard, he does not condone violence. So and his name was somewhat used by Will Smith to justify why he did this. I'm defending family, just like Mr. Williams. And if Mr. Williams is saying that's not acceptable, we need to give that a little bit of extra weight. But I want to talk to you, Willie, about some of your experiences with these fights you've had. We've all, I mean, I know for myself, I've been in fights. Del, I don't know what your experiences have been.
I've lost a couple myself, you know.
Yeah,
we've all grown up. Well, not all, but many of us have grown up in a, you know, environment where that was part of how we grew up.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we take that stuff into our adult life, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to, I think, in a moment of crisis, sometimes you draw on some of the more, you know, primitive aspects of who you are that were formed when you were very young.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I do have to give a little understanding to what it means to kind of lose it. And that can happen. But when you were on College Hill, Willie, tell me about some of the experiences you had.
So College Hill was just an amazing experience, just in the jump. As a person that was from St. Louis, very sheltered life, moving to Los Angeles, and then 2 years later being on the first Black reality show was great. But then there was some things, because now people are so used to watching reality shows and how scripted it is. Like they had that whole Ray J thing where his hat was turned one way and then it was turned the other way. And it was like, how many times did they film this? Now, we was at a point where everything that we did was real. I can't think of anything that was fake. We might have had producer pushed ideas, and this might actually have led up to some of that part of the fight. Like there was a point where they was like, the producers came to us and it was already a little bit of tension in the house. And we all went out to dinner, and the producer said, "Hey, y'all should go play that game. Who FMLs? If y'all know what that game is, I know we can't cuss, but F, marry, kill, or that's what it is, not an L." And so, but he knew that everybody had a thing against Crystal. So every time somebody had a turn, they're like, "I would Crystal, Crystal," and Crystal. I remember she gets up and she was like, "I kill all y'all too," and it was like. And so that night where they were the most iconic fight, I say, on reality TV history was the night when they was arguing back and forth. And I saw them going back and forth arguing, but we argued a lot. And even when you saw this, even with Chris Rock, and he had his hands behind his back, because you're never expecting someone to get too mad and actually do a physical assault to you. Like Chris is like, here he comes. Like he's not in that mindset to fight. He's defenseless. And so, if any, I would have respected it more if Will said, "Hey, put your hands up. We gonna fight right now. Give him this," because right now it looked like a sucker punch. Now, if you sucker punch somebody or sucker slap somebody, that makes you the B word. Like you ain't no man because you sucker punch someone. You snuck up on some, and not when I say snuck up, obviously you walked up there, but you don't do that. That don't make you look.
We didn't square up at all, and I was wondering about that as a male. The fact that it was maybe seen as a sucker punch, or the fact that it was a slap rather than. Is that even more belittling and demeaning that he slapped another man? What do you think about that, Willie?
So as a man, if you slap me, you might as well have just pissed on my grave. Like that's up there with disrespect, because this goes back to pimps and their women. Like there's a name for that for a reason. The amount of disrespect to open hand someone and just put it across their face. It's like, yo, you don't even have the respect to punch me because you don't even see me as a man. That's what that is.
I did look up real history of slapping. And, I remember he was in France or, one of these other countries, and a reporter was going like hard with the kiss on it. And Will was like, "Yo, get off me." And then he did him a little, like a miniature backhand slap.
Yeah.
So that's just Will's thing. I feel like it wasn't like, like pimps, hoes, anything. I feel like Will is a slapper. You know what I'm saying? He's a serial slapper. That's what it is. You know.
Are you loving the Let's Talk Hair TV show? Join our mailing list and get your free ebook at letstalkhair.tv. Join the Let's Talk Hair mailing list for your free ebook.
So eventually, Crystal and Vanessa end up getting into this historical fight, and Crystal hit Vanessa with a stiletto, and there was stitches, like there was so much blood all down the face, and we had to end up doing an anti-violence campaign and PSA on not just on College Hill, but they also played it before and after, like it was a commercial that we had to do. Because we know that people will see stuff on TV and they might even know that it's fake or whatever, but they will believe a lot of the stuff they see. And so we had to let people know, like, no, don't do this. So for Will, what Will did, and now this is kind of, I hate saying it like this, but he was like one of our last like black men that we looked up to. Like we had Denzel, we had Bill Cosby, he was America's dad, and Will Smith was the most positive. Oh, happy, I'm jumping out of a plane. Never do this.
America's son. He was America's son.
He was America's son. And so for him to do that, it's like, yo, man, who do we have next? Who do we have left that people really looked up to and respect across both sides like that?
I think we have a lot of folks.
We do have a lot of folks. And we they may not all be famous either. But I see what you mean, Willie, in terms of we don't have a lot of folks in the public eye left. I understand what you mean.
Yeah, I understand what y'all are saying too. Like, yeah, we got a lot of positive figures, but I'm talking about just that was like on like the huge level, and just like we saw like they could do nothing wrong to us. Is
that a problem in itself that we put people we admire on a pedestal?
Yes and no. It kind of comes with the territory a little bit. It's like it's like if you sign up to be a police officer, there's a chance you might get shot. If you're a firefighter, there's a chance you're a celebrity, you're going to be talked about. And the bigger you are, the easier target you make. And they're looking at everything that you do. And I'm not comparing myself to this by any ways, but I'm a preacher's kid. And the first thing people say about preacher's kids is like, y'all are the worst ones. And I'm like, we're doing the same thing that you're doing. It's just that everybody's looking at us. So I had to conduct myself a certain way. Like even when I was on College Hill, people used to call my dad up like, oh, you know what your son did on this episode? How do you feel about that? And I would have to talk to my dad about it. They say, hey, Willie, you did this. And I'm like, it's hard. It's hard to try to be this uptight citizen. And sometimes the devil takes control.
Wow. And especially when you're in the public eye, yeah.
Especially when you're in the public eye. And I feel like the devil took control of Jada, you know, at the Oscars the most, because as a Black woman who really admires Jada so much, like, you know, when we think of Jada, we think of classiness. We think of, you know, the woman who is brave enough to put herself out there. We think of Girls Trip, you know, we think of all the movies that we admire so much. So to see her in this humanistic form, like, you know, doing a hood girl roll eye, that's where, you know, because she's been like America's Black daughter, like, you know what I mean? Like that cool, fine Black girl from up the street that made it, that don't need no white people to like her because all the Black people been her fans. That's how we look at her, you know, even still, because we're human, you know what I mean? You have a right to be upset if you be in the butt of somebody's joke, especially Jada could have been looking at it like, oh, you know, you esteem this white couple over here. You know, if she loses, he can't win. And then you tell me I'm going to be in a remake of this other thing, you know, but as a fan, I wasn't even looking at G.I. Jane 2 as something bad. Like I'm looking at like, you're beautiful. Demi was beautiful. Like, yeah, let's get the G.I. Jane 2 going. You know what I'm saying?
So you see G.I. Jane as a good thing, whereas Jada may have seen it as like a dig to her career, as though the reboot of G.I. Jane is as far as she could go.
See, now I think that's Hollywood. That is, you know, as an artist myself, you know, we will run into people. I'll run into people so much every day, almost every day, and they'll be like, "I recognize you from here. I recognize you from there." And when they're recognizing me, they probably caught me fresh in the middle of my prayer to ask the Lord, when am I going to get recognized? You know what I'm saying? Like, when am I going to get my thing to blow up? And I feel like that's what Jada's going through. Like, she still wants her, magic, moment, but we're looking at her like, boo boo, you've had the magic all these years. You know what I'm saying? So
that was very much the fairy godmother perspective. You've had it in you the whole time.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Now, I have two questions, even about just G.I. Jane. Now, was G.I. Jane a flop? I thought it did good.
It was a really big success, but it was 25 years ago. And it was, but she was a badass character. She was beautiful, strong. She integrated the Marines. I felt that she was a very positive depiction of a bald woman, but the character chose to shave her head, and some people feel it robbed Jada of her femininity to be compared to a character who had to shed her femininity to integrate the Marines. I think that's where the insult kind of came from.
Y'all looking way too far deep.
Man, if you thought about all of that while he was saying that joke.
No, he didn't think about none of that. He thought about that August Alsina and all the memes, and he went up there to be like, "I'm gonna show the world that Will Smith ain't no B." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I really think, to Chris Rock's credit, he probably made every effort not to do an August Alsina joke.
Yes. Yeah.
And it still didn't work out for him. I want to share something with you guys about this touches on Chris Rock and the issue of alopecia. This is a clip from Good Hair.
I have alopecia, which causes hair loss on your head or on your body. I chose not to wear a wig for a number of reasons. There's this feeling about somehow hiding, and I never wanted to feel like I was hiding something. I wanted to deal with sort of accepting who you are and looking in the mirror and feeling as though you're beautiful and legitimate. So I think the reason hair is so important is because our self-esteem is wrapped up in it. It's like a type of currency for us, even though those standards are completely unrealistic and unattainable, especially for Black women.
Basically, he's very listening in a very empathetic way to this lady with alopecia.
I don't think Chris knew that Jada had alopecia. That was the furthest thing from his mind. He didn't know that she had alopecia, and no one really knew that Jada had alopecia until the alopecia girls started coming to say he attacked her because of alopecia. Like, no one was even thinking of that. Will wouldn't even think about Jada's alopecia, and neither was she thinking about it. I think it's like you said, Olu. I think it's that career dig, because you're, as a person that is in the industry, you're constantly wanting things that your comrades have, and it doesn't mean you're not going to get them, but it does mean that you're close upon it. There's even a movie called 20 Feet from Stardom. It's about all the like background singers that, are 20 feet from the star of the show, and the emotions that they go through, being in that position. And I feel like, that would have warranted an eye roll of that magnificence. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like Will and Jada was on two different pages that night. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't like, "Oh, I'm gonna defend my wife." It was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go up here because I've been boiling over with this other thing." Then you talking about keep my wife's name out your effing mouth. I wish they would have showed her face while he was saying it, because I would have never wanted my man to be up here smacking somebody in front of somebody. You know what I mean? Like, now my man going up to accept an award and being like, "Listen here, my wife is not just gonna be on G.I. Jane 2. Y'all need to put her in this and put her in that. Where my wife's special at? Where my dick?" That's how you stand up for your woman and get her the same things that you got, because I even heard when he did this movie with, I forget this actor's name, but he got them more money. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah,
you don't take away from your wife's light, because now it's just like, anytime she go up for something, she got that stint on her too. You know what I'm saying?
And I have not seen a statement from the Smiths that specifically recognized the alopecia as an issue. Have you guys?
No.
A statement since the Oscars?
Yes. The public took the alopecia issue and ran with it, but we don't necessarily know that that's what was going on in Will and Jada's minds.
Now, I'm not going to put everybody in the same category as me, but if you would have asked me 2 weeks ago what alopecia was, I had no idea. No idea. I feel like a lot of people had no idea. Like there's people like what Bruce Willis has. Well, I forget. You saw that he came out that he has some type of whatever
brain illness. Yeah, brain condition. Yeah.
Whatever that word is, though. Like if someone's like, Willie, you know what blah 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 is? I'm like, zero idea. Zero. Like what is that? That's where your neurological system is.
Really, that's where you get in trouble with. Medical conditions that start with A don't go over well with you. You had the albinism situation. Now this.
Yeah. And I feel like also too, I haven't seen a statement. I do know that women suffer, with alopecia because our hair is our crown. Like, we even when, sometimes I'll see like little stragglies up top and I'm like, I need to stop putting heat on my hair. This is the third piece of hair that I've got. You know what I'm saying? So like, it is definitely a sensitive issue because of how much it's connected. When men can shave their hair more and y'all actually look sexier. But also, too, I know some women that look fantastic bald, and Jada being one of them.
Okay, that was something that we talked about with Luenell when she came on our show. Let's take a look at this clip.
Pressure of society to look more European, and then the brothers get all mesmerized by the hair blowing in the wind and the commercial and all that.
Exotic feel.
Yeah, well, we used to be exotic.
We still are. Let's be very clear. We still are exotic.
Yeah, bald-headed women, the women that were on the front of the Ohio Players album was bald-headed. That was exotic.
Yeah.
Now exotic is taking on another term.
I'm gonna say this. I can call a couple of my homeboys, and I've had this discussion for like years. I like women with short hair. I've dated women with short hair. When a woman I've been involved with was like, "What should I do with my hair?" I'm like, "You should cut it off." Like I think it's edgy. It's kind of cool. I guess I've also been kind of attracted to like more of the tomboy types, anyways, just because like you feel like you can kind of they're cooler for some reason. Women with shorter hair are just like they're a little bit more playful, or they take less time, like when they were worried about their hair. Anyways, so I've always thought Jada's hair was beautiful short. Like I didn't even think about the alopecia part of it because I'm like, man, she is stunning. So all of this situation is really disappointing, and it definitely does suck, and it hates that you got to kind of pick sides on it and who was right, who was wrong, because it like you were showing in that one clip, it did divide us. Because some of the stuff that I'm saying right now is gonna make somebody upset. Even my comments like, "Oh, Willie, you don't protect, or you're not sensitive enough." The stuff that we're talking about is gonna have people feel a way about us anyways. So I mean, at what point, how sensitive is too sensitive, and how sensitive is not sensitive? How much can you say? How much can you not say? Because what Tom Segura said when he said his little thing, did you see what he said about?
You have said you love the ladies with short hair, natural hair, and we appreciate that love. Let's watch a clip of you saying this on our show.
But there's something about a natural hair of a woman is like, look, this is me. I feel good about this, and like, let's go. For me, this is me. I'm speaking for myself.
All textures, any texture.
All textures. I don't care what it is. The natural look does it for me.
Okay, Willie for the win. Willie for the win. That is why you didn't see the insult in the the remark, because you see it as a positive in itself. So we love that about you, Willie. So Willie, what do you think about the whole issue of professionalism as a comedian? Del, what do you think about that? Where if a comedian is in a situation where they actually take a hit, I personally respect Chris Rock immensely for rolling with the punch and keeping the show going. Is that something you guys feel is a credit to your profession?
You have to do it.
Yeah. It is literally the show must go on. That is that statement. That's where that statement comes from, is the show must go on. And I just really admire how Chris came into a stance of like, he went down like, he was about to do one of these and straightened up his body. Like I'm talking about, I feel like I was watching that brother do an outer body experience. Composure, because it's not easy to keep your composure, and you're certainly not expecting to be attacked when you're just riffing off of a joke, and you're on one of the highest platforms ever at the Oscars with all the other people that are on high platforms there in the audience.
Yeah, Willie, you had an experience in Chicago. I'm just gonna roll this clip.
So I did this show up in Chicago. I was at Chicago at this comedy club. I was gonna say the name of it, and I was like, no one cares. And this drunk person, white lady, screams out in the audience while she was in the audience, "I love your fro." I was like, "Thank you." She's like, "Can I touch it?" And I was like, "No, first of all, I have a show going on. Like, I'm in the middle of the show."
So that's a heckler.
It's a heckler. This is one of those weird hecklers. Some hecklers are like, they're either booing you or making fun of your joke. But she was just like in awe of my hair this entire time. I was like, "No, you can't touch my hair." Okay. She's like, "Oh, I'm just gonna come up there and touch it then."
See? So whether you give permission or not.
She walked up, I don't know if I can show you all the photo or they'll post it later. But yeah, she comes up on the stage and just grabs my hair.
Wow.
And so now the rest of my show has to be dedicated to this experience, and just it was so.
What was the audience reaction?
Oh, the audience was in just like, what is he gonna do? This is probably where he ends up snapping.
And was it a white audience? Was it a black audience?
It was a white audience. It was
Okay.
there was maybe like a sprinkle of black people in there. Now they were all like, oh yeah, they're
My
like,
word.
oh no, this is how.
You heard a whole bunch of, oh no, she didn't. For real. Okay.
And then she says, "Your hair is actually softer than I thought."
Oh.
Which now makes me think, like, what you mean? Like, so she already had this vision of my hair
being rough, tough, and that was something she wanted to experience. All right.
Wow.
First of all, your face was priceless on that picture, Willie. It was like, no, you did it.
Willie. So there was something in the Chris Rock, so you could see it from Chris Rock's perspective. Being the comedian on stage, having someone behave inappropriately towards you, and having the pressure of keeping that show going.
Yeah, it was definitely shocking. In the back of my mind, I'm like, man, why are you doing this? Like what's going on? How am I gonna alter? Then as she kept on getting closer, I was like, what is happening right now? She gonna just say something to me? Then she reached her hand out and did this, and I was like, she just really grabbed my hair while I'm on stage. Like, not only do you not touch black people hair, like it takes a while to style this. I don't just wake up with this fro. Like I had to do all of this and puppet and do this. So for you to just be like this, it was like, yo. But you can't. I'm not gonna obviously slap her or do anything crazy. So I was like, all right, now I got to sit here and address this situation. Now, one of the things that kind of made me chuckle, and it really wasn't even funny, was how Chris went right back into his joke after, like he went back into telling jokes. I was like, hey, don't nobody care about these jokes anymore, Chris.
Yeah. And he actually was at a comedy club this past weekend, and it was
in Boston. Yeah,
and people were expecting his response, and he just said that he's still kind of processing it. and he wants to continue with the jokes that he planned before this weekend. So he was like, it's definitely going to be in my set, and I'm definitely going to make it serious. But he has not, officially responded to it,
Yeah.
So, I think, I found it so symbolic that Chris is on a tour called the Death of the Ego Tour. Oh my God. And kick it off with the death of the ego right there, because you were definitely offended on the largest stage and you had to throw that ego in the grave and keep going. You know what I'm saying? So,
but also what's super cool about what's going on with this whole situation, not cool, but the amount of money that Chris is making now because of this. Like my brother was telling me that one of the ticket prices for that show that you're talking about went for thousands of dollars. His tour prices have went from like 50, like the minimum was like $50, $60 before. Now the minimum price is $350, $400. It's like, to capitalize that quickly, to have this team like, all right, jump the prices up, do this. And Chris Rock's sitting fat right now. While so part of the reason he hasn't really made like a full statement is because he's working on it with his team, whoever he's sitting down with, like, okay, how do we make the most of this? You're gonna believe there's gonna be merch at Chris Rock's show with him just being like this, slapped by. Oh my goodness, I would milk the hell out of it. I would be at my show selling hand palm powder.
Selling shea butter. You know what I'm saying? When you gotta slap somebody, you might as well be oiled up.
You know that seasoning, slap your mama? That's about to be a slap your Chris Rock seasoning.
Well, guys, I appreciate this conversation with you guys. We were all armchair. The whole country's been armchair therapists this last couple of days.
Yes.
We all have our virtual PhDs in psychology after this. I do want to end it on this note because of the just out of respect for you guys as comedians and knowing that this could happen to you, I want to end it on this note of D.L. Hughley's statement regarding this, because it definitely struck a nerve, and I will just cue that up real quick.
I have participated in this, so I know it to be true. There has been a lot of attention given to Will's mindset that night. The night that there's a lot of attention given to what it must have driven him to this, how he got to this, what he must have been thinking, what was the tipping point. And it's been pretty consistent across the board. I think the one thing that we know for sure is that perspective has been delved into. What I haven't, and I'm sorry about this, given as much attention to, is how Chris must be fit. Chris is 57, I'm 58, Will is 53. We are all eligible for the early bird special. And an almost 60-year-old man got slapped in front of the world. Everybody saw it. Slapped in front of the world. He avoided getting slapped growing up in Brooklyn. He'd avoided getting slapped on many stages he's been on, but he could not avoid the Oscars. And that makes me sad. And it makes me sad that I've spent time in this chair myself, lamenting what Will must have gone through, and very little thought as to what Chris must be going through. And the fact that Chris hasn't to date released a statement lets me know that he is dealing with this in some kind of way. There's no doubt that Will has had a level of recrimination. He's been derided, but there also was an outpouring in love and support. He had actors come to his aid after it was over and wipe his tears away. He got to sit down. He got to enjoy the show. He got to laugh at other jokes. He got to get an award that he's been longing for his entire career. He got to be celebrated. He got a standing ovation. He got to go to the after parties and get jiggy with it. And then he got to go home and write an apology. I don't begrudge him that. But I tell you this, I don't think the offense was worth a lifetime of this. Chris Rock will forever be the man who got slapped at the Oscars, forever. And I don't think the offense matches the punishment. I do not at all.
Okay, guys, any final note about that?
I mean, I couldn't agree more. You know, I didn't even realize Chris still looks so young. And I didn't even realize that, you know, this is someone's dad who has, you know, reached a pinnacle in his career. Every comedian wants to be one of the presenters at the Oscars, you know, and you were embarrassed, you know, and God bless Chris's family too, you know, his children watching that, his family watching that, but also to, you know, we have to also, you know, bless Will and Jada, because mental health in our community is one thing that is not being dealt with, you know, on a regular basis. And hopefully these guys, you know, because they have the money to deal with it, hopefully they will get some help and be dealing with it. But, you know, all of these, you know, this slap has come from, you know, definitely mental distress, you know. So God bless us all, you know.
Thank you, Del. Willie, what do you think?
I feel like now the ball is also in Chris Rock's in his hand in like a couple of ways. One, as a person who is not suffering, but going through this embarrassment or whatever, but also now you're the one people are laughing at, and you're the one that's being ridiculed the way that you might have ridiculed Jada, the way you might have ridiculed all these people over your lifetime. Now it's your time to be in the passenger seat on the butt of the joke of where every time you go out to eat, you don't pay your bill, slap, or, you know, whatever jokes that's going to come from it. But at the same time, I also understand, like, this is, I don't think, and this is me just guessing because I don't know neither one of them, I don't think Chris is dealing with this as bad as people trying to make it sound, because he's a comedian. All he's gonna do is write about, he's gonna profit off of this slap. Now, if he wasn't profiting off of it and it was just like some random slap, like, and you would not blow up from it, then that's a completely different thing. So, but that my last little sentence is for like, y'all were at the Oscars. Y'all are actors. Act like y'all got some sense, man.
Yeah.
Act like y'all got some sense.
Yeah. Willie, thank you so much for that. Del, thank you so much. This was a great conversation. And, you know, just the whole thing about Let's Talk Hair is that hair intersects with so many issues.
Yes.
That's going on today. Chris Rock even said it in Good Hair. It's not what's on your head, it's what's in your head. There's a lot of complicated stuff that needed to be unpacked. So I am so glad you guys took the time to unpack it together. I love our team. I love our show. And I can't wait to see you guys back in the studio once again.
Definitely. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having us, Olu. And thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Let's Talk Hair.
You're watching Let's Talk Hair.
Introducing the exciting new talk and lifestyle television show,
Let's Talk Hair.
Dedicated to hair from an African American perspective. Relaxed hair, natural hair, products and techniques, the latest trends, beauty, celebrities, personal journeys, and enterprise. Let's talk hair.
Hey, I got to quote Stephanetta Isis Harmon. She said, when 2 or 3 black women are gathered, we're going to talk about hair.
Like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, stalk us on Twitter. Keep joining the conversation because we love to hear from you guys and we hope you guys enjoyed hearing from us.